We are living in the times where the green is the new blue, where not until long ago we used to have the highest desirability and demand for the blue dials. It seems that the tables have turned, with the market now favoring the green dials over the blue. If you go back to the craze for green dials, while there have been historically green dials done by watch manufacturers previously, it wasn't until that Rolex did the same in the Submariner, referred to as Hulk, back in 2010. When that green in the Hulk was done by Rolex back in the day, it actually was not welcomed by the large community of collectors, and where some call it to be a very non-versatile color, others considered it to be marketing stunt and a gimmick that would die out soon. Interestingly, Rolex did the Hulk for over 10 years and eventually discontinued it, only for the rest of the watch manufacturers to follow. And we saw green in some of the most popular watch models in the world, including but not limited to Patek Philippe Nautilus, Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, and recently Omega Speedmaster and Seamaster. While Rolex did discontinue the flashy and sunburst green in the Submariner, they didn't really part ways with the green color as such, and in the same year of 2020, we saw an introduction of funky and colorful dials in the Oyster Perpetual range by Rolex, including turquoise blue, pink, coral red, yellow, and the green. In the same year, Rolex also introduced green in the Datejust 36 models, but not in a plain or a non-textured dial. Rather, it was only offered in the dial with palm motif pattern. And also, it was not offered in the 41mm DJ range. Until this point, there was no real standard green dial available in the Datejust range. If you look at the history, while Rolex Datejust was originally released in 1945, that is, about a decade before the first release of Rolex Submariner, it wasn't until 2009, that is, 64 years down the line, that Rolex added to Datejust the case size of 41mm. This was also a reflection of how Rolex have evolved their watches to remain timeless and iconic, yet adapting to modern times, standards, needs, sizes, and trends. Rolex Datejust has pretty much also remained the only watch where Rolex offer the highest number of customizations. That is, you can choose the dial color, dial pattern, material, bezel, bracelet, and even pick the diamond or precious metal options. From 2009 until 2022, while Rolex offered many dial configuration, there was never a green color in basically any dial in the DJ41 range. So this year, the addition of green dial to Rolex DJ41 line is a beginning of new chapter to the range. Rolex Datejust is a timeless and classic watch with a rich history, iconic looks, and a long legacy and heritage. And while Rolex did do a somewhat controversial shade of green on the Hulk, and also a rather unique matte green in the Oyster Perpetual range in 2020, the shade of green used on the Datejust is very aligned with core Rolex attributes, Rolex DNA, and Rolex looks. It is green, but in a classic, earthy, and natural way. It is not flashy, and it's not pretentious. Rather, it's downright sleek and elegant, just like the mint green, hence the name. And when you put it next to Oyster Perpetual, you can easily see how the funky dial colors Rolex did in the OP range were so un-Rolex looking, and the dial shade that Rolex have done on the Datejust is so much Rolex-like. You might notice a different dial to bezel ratio in both of these 41mm Rolex watches. So if you are interested in OP41 versus DJ41 comparison video, the link is on the top right corner of your screen. This particular watch in the video comes with a smooth bezel and an oyster bracelet, and while the fluted bezel are typically a more popular choice in the DJ range, there's attributes and characters with smooth bezel that are unique to it. For example, while it is polished, it makes the watch a lot more easier to wear as opposed to fluted bezel that plays with the light and reflections differently and attracts more attention. However, more polished, smooth area on the bezel and bracelet links also mean the higher tendency for the watch to show scratches and marks. Unlike the palm and fluted motif dials in the DJ range, the dial here comes with a standard sunburst treatment, and the brush lines are crisp and sharp, allowing the dial to play with the light, showing all the different hues of green and sometimes almost black. The hour markers come with bevels at the edges, and they make them play with the light and show reflections upon the flick of wrist, enhancing the experience of the watch on the wrist. The hour markers also come with luminous infill in them, and same is the case with the dial hands that not just execute fine workmanship but offer a very soothing and visually appealing aesthetics to please the wearer as the seconds hand sweeps through the dial. On the wrist, the DJ41 in green wears and looks true to its size, and since it is not as such a flashy, vibrant or funky green, the color seems to blend and looks versatile and timeless. The size of the watch measured at the bezel is only 39.2mm, so it does not look that big, but if you measure the case from 2 to 8 o'clock position, it is indeed 41mm. The size of the crystal on the dial is 32mm, so it's not really a small watch either. The lug-to-lug height of the watch is 47.4mm, and since my wristband is 55mm, I can pull it off without any problems. The case thickness is 11.6mm, so it's not a thick watch as such. My wrist size for reference is 6.5 inches. The new DJ41 also comes with 21mm bracelet at the lugs, and it tapers down to 15.5mm at the clasp. If you wanted to also see how the OP41 in coral red wears on the same 6.5 inches wrist, here's a wrist shot for your reference and comparison with the DJ41. Rolex Datejust comes with a history, legacy and a heritage that you will be pushed to find a watch with a longer history than it. On top of it, it maintains its iconic looks, and if you see a DJ from 1945 or one from today, you can instantly recognize what watch it is. Rolex added the green color to their watches earlier and have finally added it to the DJ line too. And what the DJ hasn't moved away from is everything that it stands for. Even when the green color made its way to the DJ line, it is timeless, it is subtle, it is earthy, and it may possibly be greener than the grass on the other side.